Alright, so here's a layout update. First, we're going to start off with some things I got at Dispatch Junction. I had to go up to Penfield for Donuts on the Deck with the NMRA, and it was 3 blocks from Dispatch Junction. So I decided, I'll drive through there, see what they got at Dispatch. Don't usually go to Dispatch because there you really have to dig through the piles because everything is not always labeled, unlike at a train show where everything is usually labeled with these nice labels. At least the places I get, they give nice labels. They actually are what they say. The labels at Dispatch Junction are not necessarily what they are inside. So, you have to really dig through, and standing there, digging through, actually saw 2 Amtrak trains. 2 Amtrak trains passed, and 2 of the Empire Service passed in Fairport, right next to the, not Fairport, East Rochester, right next to the tracks. So I saw those 2 out the window, and bought a few things. Some unusual things, some normal things. So, let's see here. I also brought up my clamps because you can see I have a piece of hardboard. It's one of the fascia pieces, but I'm going to not going to cut any more of those until I get a table saw, because the circular saw, it's too much of a problem to cut it. I can put a board down and guide it that way, but it's going to be easier if I have a table saw, so I'll wait till I have a table saw to cut the rest of the fascia. So I'm going to clamp those on the back as like a backdrop. I'm going to use those. I have 4 of them, so they're the same length as the module, so I'm going to clamp them onto the back and have 4 backdrops along here, so I can film operations videos with a plain brown background instead of the stuff like the stuff in the hallway or stuff like that, stuff in my room, stuff like that. So that'll improve looks of videos. Now let's get into some things. We have a roundhouse model. This is one with the metal underframe. New York Central 604949. So we got a 1923, I think it is, built gondola for use in JMRI and operations. These are, of course, when they're in here, they're already in JMRI, so I gotta put couplers on that. Then we have, we'll save this for later. We have a 6th edition, which I gotta switch the couplers on this because it's got the horn hook ones, but we got Arcade Natica 502, so that's Arcade Nat number 6 for my Arcade Natica boxcars. We have over here, this one is not going to be in operations. This one is just a interesting one that I saw. It was $9, so it's like, yeah, I'll buy it because it's interesting. That's something that Mark at My Life's Tracks would probably find it interesting because he likes the unusual. Napa Valley Wine Train. When I saw Route of the Wine Train, I thought at first maybe it was a Bath and Hammondsport car, but it was Napa Valley. So, I bought it. Interesting. For $9, it was worth it. Something that I can put on a shelf. Then we have a Big Sky Blue Great Northern. They got to change the couplers on that too, which they're going to get double shelves for right now. And necessary in New York, it is a law that every single model railroader in New York State have the I Love New York DHNY car. It's just that's just a law in New York. If you don't have one, you're in violation, and your model railroading card has to be revoked. That's just that's ironic because I was at a model railroad. The Donuts and Deck was at a model railroad, and there was actually one of these was on the train, and then I go to Dispatch Junction after leaving there and pick up one. This was $25. It was one of the more expensive ones, but it was worth it. I've wanted one of those cars for a while. That, of course, has to have the couplers changed on it. Now this one is one that actually has a load in it. This is a decently done load for a Great Northern gondola. Now it is a little warped, and I'm not exactly sure what that looks like. They made like a thing of glue. It looks like they made like this big batch of glue, and then they put all these things in it. But I think this is, the things on top of this are all wood, which is interesting. I'm not sure what they did here. It's interesting. I'm not sure how this was made, but it looks good from the top. If you don't notice that it's warped. So we're going to go with a scrap load. And then we have this one, which was an undecorated gondola that somebody painted for, I think it's Jersey and Gorge route. I believe this is a freelance railroad. There is several cars for this railroad at Dispatch Junction. I picked up this one because it was $12 and I needed another gondola. So you need more gondolas that fit my era, and this is built in 1950, so this fits the era, so this can hopefully start to phase out some of the newer gondolas now. I keep talking about it, I still haven't done it. But yeah, that's interesting. It's another thing on my layout. Then we have another unusual thing, and this, of course, this one is in JMRI already. We have a boxcar for the National Railway Historical Society Rochester chapter, 50th anniversary, and we're approaching their 90th anniversary. It's been almost 40 years since this. But this one I'm thinking belonged to the same person as a lot of the cars that I got from Dispatch Junction did, because it has these blue and orange dots on the bottom of it. I'm not sure what the purpose he had for those. There was some RFID thing or whatever, or marking them as his, I don't know. But these are on a few of my cars, including this Wisconsin and Southern boxcar. They're also, I believe they're on these. No, not on that. There's a few of my cars that those dots are on, but I'm not sure exactly what ones. I knew they were on that one. I know there's a few others that they're on. I'd have to look at every single one of my cars, and I'm not going to do that right now. And then we have another reefer. Another refrigerated boxcar. And this is an ice bunker one, and this is not going to be used for shipping ice. This is actually, I added a track in Rochester for this. So now we have Genesee beer and ale being delivered to the freight depot. So, that's that. That's this month's purchases. As far as I know, the only purchases I'm going to make next month is I'm going to be getting a decoder and speaker for this, or 8313, one of those, getting me one of these DCC and sound. I want to get that done. I want to get one of them done before October. So well, not before October, very in the beginning of October, because I want to take this to a layout and operate with it. So that is that for now. So we'll be back with anything else I have to do. Probably going to do some work on the layout, do some things. I need to cut some holes in the foam to make a pit for coal and coke. Also at JMRI, I have actually found how to. I've been looking in JMRI to try and figure out how I can have a specific car for a certain commodity, because they're all based on types of cars. Well, when you have a car that you want to have for a certain purpose, like the South Buffalo cars for coke, or the Main Central cars I have, there's some Main Central cars like this one that are specifically for paper loading, and it says right on it, for newsprint loading, return home promptly. I finally found in JMRI how to do that, although I have these actually being used for paper period, not just newsprint. So, but in JMRI, if you if you look at the list of your car list, there is a set button and then there's an edit button. You click the set button and then you can set at least, it might not even been there on the version I had, because I had a JMRI version 5.0 and I just updated it to version 5.12. So it might not have been on there before. That might have been how I didn't find it. But I clicked that, and it comes up with destination when empty. And I set, and you can set something like a hopper, for like cement loading, because I have a few covered hoppers that are only supposed to be for cement loading. I can go in, click on like it's an Ann Arbor one. None of them are on the layout right now, or where I don't know where they are. I had to move things around. But now I can put in there, it will return to, that one I don't have it set where it returns to, because it's set in the thing or location where it goes to. And have it be, when return when loaded, it returns to New York concrete pipe with cement. The Arcade and Attica boxcars, those are set up to return to arcade. Now, they were already in JMRI to do that anyway, but I reinforced it more so that they did not get loaded with anything else. South Buffalo open hoppers, those go to Buffalo to go to the steel mill to get filled with coke. And there's 3 B&O hoppers that I have to set up so that they come in with coke, because they say for coke, they say coke service on them. And there's some other ones that have specific ones. Because I had originally, I had covered hoppers, and I would have cement hoppers that I put in as a type of car. I put a cement hopper in as a type of car, and I had to, because I had to do that because otherwise it was loading cement hoppers with sand, and I didn't want that, and I couldn't find a way to have those specific to the road number be for a specific commodity, which you need. I mean, especially with the bigger layouts, when I get into those, when we have hoppers that are going for salt service, I do not want a BNSF covered hopper showing up to get loaded with salt when that's supposed to be for loaded with sweeteners, going to Sweeteners Plus in Lakeville. So now that I found that, or if they've added it since I had an older version, I mean, the old version I had, they don't even offer on the website anymore. It's so old. Now I don't have to worry about that, because I was worried about, it's like, how am I going to recreate this and have things going to the right place? Now I know, and it's going to make setting up behind the scenes operations, the off layout operations, a whole lot easier when we get to the big layout, because I can just have them go into staging and go into a staging and refill and have be like GNWR 5062, when empty returns to American rock salt to be loaded and load salt, or empty, and then it gets load and then goes to staging and its load there is salt. Or the boxcar is going to Morton salt, or the BNSF hoppers that are filled with sweeteners going to Sweeteners Plus, the corn syrup tank cars, molten sulfur tank cars, the plastic pellet hoppers, because JMRI does not distinguish plastic pellet hoppers from grain hoppers. So now I can put that into there, and I could not find any video online saying how that is. In fact, I might put that in the end. Next time my mom goes out for a walk, I would put my tripod out and show you exactly how that works, because I don't think there's anything out there. In fact, maybe I'll do that for NREX. Maybe I'll put a video together for that, because there's videos on the NMRA about JMRI, but they're long, and they go through all these humongous things about JMRI, and that's one little snippet that would make a good on its own. So I might do that. That's an idea. But that's the purchases. So, yeah. I'll be back with some more stuff I've done. Okay, so now we got our temporary backdrop up on the Embry and New York concrete pipe and Martin Colton organ module. Remember, Martin Colton organ is supposed to go here, Embry is here, and then New York concrete pipe is over there. We have the shipping building for Martin Colton, and it's also doubling as a button factory until I get separate modeling for both, for the different time periods. We have all the cars set up for an operating session, and done a bit more work. Just spent a few minutes carving out this pit for coke at the foundry. And as you can see here, we have Sparky 107 down in the coke pit. The foundry wall is going to go here, roughly here, so we'll have piles of coke around here, and that will go into there. Casting shop is here, so we'll have steel and stuff unloaded here. And this is where sand goes here. I got to cut out another pit here for coal. And unfortunately, when I popped the track out of alignment, I busted the solder on this feeder, so I got to resolder that, which I don't appreciate, but I'll redo that after I do everything else. I actually carved this out with a Dremel tool, with the wood carving bit of the Dremel, and I did use my utility knife a little bit and the X-Acto knife a little bit, and then I polished it with actually a stone grinding bit, and then got the corners with the tip bit, which, yeah, I know it's not what it's supposed to be for, but I can always buy new bits, and it worked. It's what I had. Tools on hand to do the job I needed to do. So, that's it so far. Well, back with more. Okay, so you see I have not cut out this pit. I was going to put it here, but I think I'm going to actually put it here because there's a little bit of a indentation here, and you can have a conveyor going up and into this area here. So that's where the pit's going to be, and then oil tank cars will be unloaded either here or here, and might have a extra spot here where they can unload some coal there. But we have a package, and this one is Paul Stamp's fault. In his Discord server, he posted a link to this locomotive that was on eBay. It's actually my first purchase on eBay. And he was begging somebody to do it for their freelance. And his idea was to make a Buffalo, Rochester, Pennsylvania locomotive, which is the freelance version of the Buffalo, Rochester, and Pittsburgh. I'm not quite sure why that started rolling. Up there. That the Genesee Society of Model Engineers, that's their freelance railroad, inspired by the BRMP, which I model. Then, of course, I looked at it, and it's like, probably not going to buy it. But then I saw that it was that the current bid was $65, and there was an hour and 13 minutes left to bidding. So I bid, maximum bid 70, bid 66, and I won it for 66. There were 14 people watching it, and I was amazed that I actually won it for $66. This is a DCC ready locomotive, and it came from Ohio. And hopefully it is in as advertised condition, because the seller had 100% positive rating. And it looks like it is. This is an undecorated B40-8W, or -8-40BW, or D8-40BW, depending on what railroad you would be doing it for. And this is going to become a Buffalo, Rochester, and Pennsylvania. It's missing. It looks like it's missing some of the packaging. It's going to become a Buffalo, Rochester, and Pennsylvania locomotive. This has detail parts that are missing. They're not missing. They're here, but they're not applied to it. The plow at least has ditch lights, so that's good. The chain on the trucks is not applied and all that stuff, so this is going to be a applied detail locomotive. Not sure exactly what all those detail parts are. Especially that. I don't know what that is. Let's get this out. It is missing the handrails on the front and back. It is also missing rear grab irons and the front grab irons, and they are not in here, so I have to make those with wire. But that will be a Buffalo, Rochester, Pennsylvania locomotive. That looks almost like it. That's the exhaust stack. Wait a minute. Okay, it wasn't. I looked through here and it looked like there actually was a decoder on there, but it's not. It buzzed when I put it on here. So, this one is probably actually going to be my first locomotive that I actually custom paint, because Buffalo, Rochester, Pennsylvania scheme is very simple. It's B&O Royal Blue with Buffalo, Rochester, Pennsylvania on the hood and a number. That's all it is. So we'll probably be doing that. I'll have to get, probably Paul will provide me with decals. So, that's going to be a project. So that's it for this layout update. Next layout update, I'm actually going to cut out this on camera, so we'll have that. So, from CP Silver Springs, Milepost 368, they're on Southern Soldier Line. Keep on the way, trains. Tim out.